So he's
And
incredible.
and the Madurai cinema, the Madurai gangsters are very different from, you know, I
Yeah.
mean, I'm talking about Jigar Thanda was a kind of a complete turnaround in that kind of genre, so to speak. But even otherwise, it's very different from the way the Bombay world has been, right? You know?
Yeah, and also what we also don't know is even in the South, caste operates as much as a trigger as it does in the North. Like if we feel Rajasthan, Haryana, Punjab, these places are really violent, and the caste politics is really dense. It's very similar down south. It's just that the people who have gone away from the south and are at Google or Sundar Pichai, they all look very heavy, or we just look well read or Bharadwaj Rangan, but that's far away from the truth. Yeah. It's the same. The patriarchy, the caste hierarchy, all the same. And I think people like Vetrimanan and Karthik Subbaraj and especially Vetrimanan actually. Sorry,
Makes,
actually, Amit Sultan and Bala and those guys.
And Rosella Stephen, who's the editor of Hindu Weekend, wants to know Mani Ratnam. Everyone wants you to talk about.
Oh yeah, so
I
I have written.
May as well talk about Mani Ratnam also.
So I have written some 10 letters to him from 1998 to 2003, I think. Never got a reply back. Then I packed my bags, went to Chennai, stayed at my aunt's place. Every day went to Madras Talkies. So I could only bump into Sudha Kongara, who later on made that boxing film with Madhavan.
Okay. And
yeah.
The recent one.
And the recent one, and she's made a film with Surya. So she was very polite, and how first ADs, Bhagav, all these ADs who have come to assist Mani Ratnam. So I was like
Sala Kadus in Hindi it was called.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, so she kind of very politely threw me out of the office, and there was.
And now Baisakhi wants us to is asking about, are we going to talk about Ab Tak Chappan anymore, or have we just moved on?
So
I think everyone wants a kind of line from him on each and every filmmaker. So let's be patient.
So Ab Tak Chappan actually.
Let's ask her if she has any specific question.
Yeah.
Why was the editing so choppy? She asked about.
In Ab Tak Chappan? Oh, that. See, I think, yeah. So, actually, that's a great point because he himself is an editor. He joined the industry as an editor for Bhoot.
Yeah.
So there's this filmmaker, Sameer Sharma, who made Love Shav, Chicken Purana. So he introduced him to Ramu, and that's how he became an editor. I think at that point of time, there was an over-reliance of shooting crows and hills and buildings to fill scenes. It was the gangster equivalent of fade in, fade out. If you see in Ab Tak Chappan, after every scene there is one crow flying. That is one thing that I really agree on. It is not really as smooth or true, even though that I don't know. Like maybe it's first film editor or Nana Bhatt time, I don't know. Or Ramu deciding that after every scene there needs to be a crow. So that is it is a bit choppy, and it doesn't really flow as good as it's supposed to be, or as good as Chak De happened, or the edit with Rocket Singh happened. That didn't happen with Touch Up.
Tithi and I blame Ramu, she says. Do you know some inside information about that?
About Ramu? I hate Ramu.
No, I blame Ramu for it, she says. The chopping.
I blame. I don't know. Yeah, I think he gave because otherwise, Ek Hasena Thi kind of stood, and even Ab Tak Chappan for those times it stood.
And Anupama Bose says, finally crows. Which is so Bombay.
It is. So either it is.
So Baisakhi is saying that she blames Ramu for the crows, not for the choppy editing. Sorry.
Okay.
I'm kind of getting used to going cross-eyed, talking to you and looking at the messages down there.
Crows, maybe. Yeah. It must be because I think me, Somain, and I don't remember who else we want to meet Ramu when This was really good. What was the horror film he made with Sudeep? He made some horror film with Sudeep, yeah. That Kannada star. And we asked him, so who is the hero of the film? He said, The Crow is the hero of my film. He just. What was it? Yeah, it was about this crow. I don't know. Okay. Uh, but Apu is still very relevant, and all his films are spoken about in spite or despite the box office.
Fook. Was it Fook? Yes. Yeah.
Spook, yes. But Somen and me, I clearly remember.
Yeah, Jahan says Fook. Yes, it is. It is.
Yeah.
It is. It is.
And me and Somen had also asked Ramu as to what is this Govinda 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 in Sarkar, and Ramu said that I wanted it. Even Amitabh Bachchan didn't like it, so I told him that in the film actually you're Krishna, which is why it's Govinda Govinda Govinda. So I think he could come up with anything and any sort of spiel to kind of legitimize whatever he wanted to do. So probably Crows and Govinda Govinda probably comes from there. Maybe.
People want a very clear answer on when they'll get to watch Peddlers. I mean,
So, so probably I'll talk to Guru. One is if by the end of the quarantine, if Eros doesn't reply. I've seen emails ranging from weeks and they have not replied. It's really super rude of them to not even reply to those emails. But if they don't, then we just give out Vimeo with passwords to everyone, and one of them is adventurous enough to pirate it. I don't know. But this quarantine is very good. If there is some sort of a rule, like, if for 7 years you're not found, then you're declared dead. So 8 years they have to keep that it doesn't belong to them. Something like that, if we can pull off.
okay. Can you talk about the gangster banter dialogues? What that you think are losing genuineness over time?
Because I think from 98 to 2005 to 2006, 7, I think, it was like an overload of Bombay-ness. In fact, this is one anecdote I wanted to share because the 2008 movies earlier were always set in Bombay. And more so than started becoming set in La La Land. It was shot in Mauritius, but it was supposed to be Bombay. And then Ramu came in, and then the gangster lingo kind of took over. So people were so tired of hearing that lingo. I think it became stale on its own. I don't think the writing after that people really didn't have an insight into what a Bombay story is. But there is one Bombay story if I would want to call out beyond the Ramu and beyond other films is Sai Paranjpe's Katha. One filmmaker who made the most middle class authentic Bombay film and the most middle class authentic Delhi film. I was in Delhi and they watched Chashme Badur, and I'm sure like she's from Delhi. And me being from Bombay, I know that she has to be from. So I think that's one language that the Dadar, Lal Bagh area language that no one really pays to. That is also the one flavor that we missed out on because the gangster flavor kind of took over, which is more aggressive and more colorful. In fact, there is this one. In fact, now, other than Rohit Shetty, anyone else, if he or she sets the film in Bombay other than Gully Boy, people really don't want to watch it. So, basically, after he made Tumhari Sulu, he gone to meet Karan Johar. Karan told them that if he had set Tumhari Sulu in Delhi, it would have done some 15-20 crores more. Just for the fact that he set it in a North Indian town, you would have viewership. So Bombay is kind of become really super stale unless the boy, which has to be set here and couldn't have been set anywhere else. Setting movies in Bombay has now become a curse more than a boon for distributors.
So many films and filmmakers, your opinion is being asked on. Bhaskar Hazarika, Amis, Super Deluxe.
This is amazing, yeah. Yeah, so Bhaskar again, is the one filmmaker I'm so excited about because traditionally movies from Assam have been about the floods and folklore and because obviously that is something that really affects them in their daily lives. But Bhaskar is someone who kind of went away from folklore and flood, and just set it in a normal neighborhood, and obviously gave it like a wicked twist. But again, I think that's such an important evolution for cinema from there. I think and him and Kenny Basumetri, who makes the kung fu films. Uh, I think those two really need to be pushed more into the mainstream, or need to be spoken more about. Or if Kenny finds more funding, I think there's like a genuine, interesting, disruptive voice from there.
Future of horror, horror film.
Horror is so bright. I'm. I was really hoping that it does half the job that it promises, so that yeah, I was really disappointed when that didn't work as a uh, uh, film and at the box office. I really wanted it to work at the box office because horror, I think, is so rich right now. When the language of cinema is improved in that sense, the exposure is improved. People are have seen content on OTT, and this was the right time to kind of get into it. Yeah, and post pandemic, I'm sure there are thousands of scripts that have already been greenlit around the pandemic. I'm sure there are 5 films that have been greenlit already. So, other than the big tentpole films, there are going to be these films also that I'm sure that would be coming out in 2021.
Rose tells me Vetrimaran is not on Instagram, but he wants to listen in. We'll send him a copy of this. I hope you said all good things about him, no? Right, you have.
Oh yeah, I'm a huge fan of his. Yeah, in fact, Vetri was there in Cannes when Peddlers first played. Um, so it was amazing that he was one of the first audience over there. And in fact, there's one more. In fact, in Vada Chennai, the first draft was about a filmmaker from Bombay who goes to Chennai with his assistant to make a film. So the director was supposed to be Anurag, and the dumb assistant was supposed to be me.
Somebody's shouting out there, Stephen Chow. Your.
Yeah. Yeah. So Stephen Chow. So again, 2004, Kung Fu Hustle released in 2004, alongside Aptak Tapan and Ek Hasina Thi. So, so Stephen Chow also is obviously one of the greatest influences that I have had also. And I very clearly remember in Busan, I was talking to someone and I told that, I'm really trying to do something in the Kung Fu Hustle Stephen Chow space. I mean, that person literally just wanted to spit on me and walk away. Because Stephen Chow was so revered, and it's like, how is anyone from India going to do anything even remotely close to Stephen Chow? But Stephen Chow is amazing in not just Kung Fu Hustle, not just Shaolin Soccer, but all the films that he did. All of them are available on YouTube, and they're incredible. His films are loaded with references for other Kung Fu films, Hollywood films that he's grown up. I mean, he's like a proper movie junkie who ended up making films and also acted in it. So I think I love this great tradition of stuntmen actor directors from Buster Keaton, Chaplin, to, Stephen Chow, Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan. I think in that tradition, uh, and even Kishore Kumar, if I can include him as singer, actor, producer, director, maybe even stuntman.